My in-laws tried to switch my baby at the hospital with my sister-in-law's stillborn. Hi, I'm Clara, and 4 years ago, I married Daniel, thinking I'd found my perfect match. He was charming, successful, and came from what seemed like a close-knit family. His parents, Harold and Sylvia, owned a chain of upscale steakhouses across California. His sister, Victoria, was married to a cardiologist named Dr. Andrew Keaton, and they lived in a sprawling estate in Palo Alto. From day one, I felt like an outsider. See, I grew up bouncing between foster homes, worked my way through college serving tables at Waffle House, and became a web designer. To them, I was Daniel's charity case, something Sylvia made sure to mention at every family gathering. "Oh, Clara made the cornbread," she'd announce at Sunday dinners. "Isn't it sweet how she tries?" Of course, we usually order from Trader Joe's bakery, but bless her heart for making the effort. Victoria was worse. She'd examine my Target outfits and my Mazda with this condescending smile. "Clara, honey, if you ever need to borrow something nice for our events, just let me know. I have tons of designer pieces I don't wear anymore." But Daniel, he never stood up for me. "That's just how they are," he'd say. "They mean well." The first real sign of trouble came at our wedding. Sylvia insisted on planning everything, dismissing every suggestion I made. During the reception, I overheard her talking to her country club friends. "We're just grateful Daniel found someone after his ex-fiancée left him for that tech entrepreneur. We worried he'd never recover. Clara might not be what we envisioned, but at least she's grateful." My heart sank. I was nothing more than a consolation prize to them. Everything changed when Victoria and I both got pregnant around the same time. Suddenly, it became a competition I never signed up for. "We're having our nursery designed by the same firm that did the Hemsworth twins' rooms," Victoria announced at Sunday dinner. "That's nice," I said, cutting my pot roast. "We're painting ourselves. Found this beautiful sage green." "How quaint," Sylvia interrupted. "Harold, didn't we use that color in the restaurant restrooms?" The comparisons never stopped. Victoria's baby shower was a catered affair with 300 guests at the San Francisco Yacht Club. Mine was a small gathering at our apartment with my work friends, the only real family I had. "I just worry," Sylvia pulled me aside at Victoria's shower, "about what kind of life you can give this baby. No extended family, no connections. It's so heartbreaking really." But what I didn't know was that this was just the beginning of their twisted plan. Fast forward to delivery day. By pure coincidence, Victoria and I went into labor on the same day at Stanford Hospital. She was in the VIP maternity suite. Naturally, I was in a regular room down the hall. I gave birth first, a healthy, beautiful baby girl we named Isla. 7 pounds 2 ounces of absolute perfection. Daniel seemed genuinely happy for the first time in months, holding her with tears streaming down his face. "She's perfect, Clara," he whispered. "She looks just like you." Then, 2 hours later, we heard commotion from Victoria's suite. Nurses rushing in and out, hushed, urgent voices. Dr. Keaton emerged, looking devastated, and that's when we learned the heartbreaking news. Victoria's baby girl had been stillborn. My heart shattered for her. Despite everything they'd put me through, no one deserved that kind of pain. Daniel went to comfort his family while I held Isla tighter, grateful for her healthy cries echoing through the room. Around 10 p.m., a nurse I didn't recognize entered my room. She was older, with graying hair and cold eyes that didn't match her scrubs. "Just need to take the baby for some standard tests," she said, reaching for Isla with practiced efficiency. Something felt wrong. Every instinct I had as a new mother screamed danger. "Which tests?" I asked, pulling Isla closer. The pediatric Ian already cleared her this afternoon. The nurse hesitated. "Just routine blood work, hospital protocol." "I want to come with her." "That's not necessary. We'll have her back within the hour." But before I could argue further, she left quickly, almost like she was fleeing. I immediately pressed the call button for my regular nurse, Erin, who'd been taking care of me all day. "No one ordered any additional tests for Isla," Erin confirmed, looking genuinely concerned. "I'm calling security right now." That's when everything went dark. Because what happened next would change my life forever. It was near midnight when Harold and Sylvia appeared in my room like ghosts. Daniel was in the cafeteria getting coffee and Erin had just taken Isla for her actual scheduled feeding. "We need to talk," Harold said, closing the door behind them with a soft click that sounded ominous in the quiet room. "Of course," I said, expecting condolences or maybe questions about how to support Victoria through her grief. But what came next made my blood run cold. "There's been enough tragedy today," Sylvia began, settling herself on the edge of my hospital bed uninvited, "and we've come up with a solution that helps everyone." "What do you mean?" I asked, though something deep in my gut already knew. I didn't want to hear the answer. "The babies," Harold said bluntly. "They look remarkably similar. Same dark hair, similar weight. During all the chaos tonight, it would be so easy for there to be a mix-up." The room started spinning. "What are you talking about?" "You're young, Clara," Sylvia pressed on, her voice taking on that patronizing tone I'd grown to hate. "You can have more children, but Victoria, the doctors say this might have been her only chance. And with your background, wouldn't Isla have a better life with parents who can provide everything? You want me to switch my baby with?" I couldn't even finish the sentence. The words were too horrible to speak. "Think about it logically," Harold leaned forward, his businessman mask slipping to reveal something cold underneath. "Victoria gets the daughter she deserves. You and Daniel can try again. We'll make it worth your while. Pay off your student loans. Buy you a house in San Mateo. Set you up for life. You're trying to buy my baby." The words came out as a whisper. "We're trying to save this family," Sylvia snapped, her fake sweetness evaporating. "Do you have any idea what this will do to Victoria, to our reputation in this community? People will talk, pity us, but if there's just a little mix-up with the hospital bracelets." That's when I found my voice. And I told them to get the hell out of my room. But they didn't leave. "You don't have a choice," Harold's voice turned menacing. "We have connections at this hospital. Dr. Keaton has privileges here. One word from him about negligent care during your delivery, and who do you think they'll believe? The respected cardiologist, or the nobody who aged out of foster care? Daniel would never. Daniel will do what's best for his family," Sylvia cut me off. "He always has. Remember when we asked him to let you go from the restaurant hostess position when you first started dating? He did it without question." My world tilted. "He said I was laid off due to budget cuts." "We don't do budget cuts, dear. We do what's necessary to protect our image, just like now." They left me shaking and terrified. But they'd made one crucial mistake. They'd underestimated what a mother will do to protect her child. When Daniel returned 20 minutes later, I tried to tell him everything, but he brushed it off. "They're grieving, Clara. They probably didn't mean it the way it sounded. They threatened me, Daniel. And they told me you fired me because they asked you to." His face went pale. "That was different. I was protecting you from their criticism. By lying to me. By choosing them over me. But the real fight was just beginning. I couldn't let Isla out of my sight. When nurses came for routine checks, I insisted on going with them. I slept with one hand on her bassinet, jerking awake at every sound in the hallway. The staff started giving me strange looks, but I didn't care. On day 2, Dr. Keaton visited my room. His demeanor was professional, but his eyes calculating. "Clara," he said smoothly, "I'm concerned about your mental state. This hypervigilance, these paranoid thoughts about people taking your baby, it's classic postpartum anxiety. I could prescribe something to help you relax." "I'm fine," I said firmly, holding Isla closer. "The nurses are worried," he continued. "If you can't calm down, we might need to evaluate whether you're fit to take the baby home. I've already started documenting your erratic behavior for your own good, of course." There it was, the threat wrapped in medical concern. But I wasn't alone in this fight. That afternoon, Daniel's cousin Melissa visited. She worked as a paralegal in downtown San Jose and had always been kind to me, often seeming embarrassed by her relative's behavior. "How are you holding up?" she asked gently. I broke down and told her everything. Her face went white as she listened. "Oh my God, Clara. This is serious. They tried something similar with my mom years ago, tried to get her declared mentally unfit when she wouldn't sign over her inheritance to Harold after my grandfather died. What do I do? Document everything. Get witnesses. And whatever you do, don't let them isolate you. That night, I called my best friend and co-worker, Sophia. I need you to come to the hospital, I whispered. Bring James and Leah. I need witnesses. They came immediately. James, our IT specialist, started documenting everything on his phone. Leah, who worked in legal compliance at our firm, began asking the nurses careful questions about hospital procedures. Sophia stayed by my side like a guardian angel. We're not leaving you alone, she promised. This is insane, James said, reviewing the visitor logs on his tablet. That nurse who tried to take Isla, she doesn't work on this floor. She's from the VIP wing. Melissa texted me, check your email. Sent you something that might help. It was a folder of documents, police reports, lawsuits, complaints spanning 15 years. Harold and Sylvia had a pattern. Business partners forced out through manufactured scandals. Employees who spoke up suddenly facing legal troubles. And at the center of it all, Dr. Keaton. Using his medical credentials to provide expert opinions that destroyed lives. But the most shocking revelation was yet to come. On the morning of discharge, the entire family arrived. Victoria looked hollow, leaning heavily on Dr. Keaton's arm. My heart ached for her genuine grief, but I held Isla tighter. One last time, Harold pulled me aside while everyone was distracted by paperwork. Think about what's best for everyone, Clara. We'll make sure you're taken care of financially. You'll never want for anything. My daughter is not for sale, I said loudly enough for others to hear. That's when Victoria spoke up, her voice raw from crying. What's going on? Nothing, Sylvia said quickly. Clara's just emotional from the hormones. No, I said, finding courage I didn't know I had. Your parents want me to switch Isla with your baby. They've been pressuring me since the first night. The room went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. Victoria's face crumpled. Mom, Dad, tell me she's lying. Their silence was answer enough. How could you? Victoria whispered, her voice breaking. My baby is gone. Gone. And you want to steal hers? Like that would somehow make it better. We were thinking of you, Sylvia protested. No, Victoria's voice grew stronger, filled with righteous anger. You were thinking of yourselves. Your image. Your perfect family portrait that looks good at the country club. She turned to me, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, Clara. I had no idea they were capable of this. Dr. Keaton looked stunned. Victoria, they were trying to help. By making me raise another woman's child. By stealing a baby. She was shaking now. What kind of monsters are you people? The family imploded right there in the hospital room. Daniel finally seemed to wake up from whatever spell his parents had cast over him. You threatened my wife, our child. We did what any loving parents would do, Harold defended. Loving parents don't steal babies, I shot back. Security arrived, drawn by the commotion. My friends had already alerted hospital administration about the situation. An investigation was launched immediately. But this was just the beginning of their downfall. Over the next few weeks, the truth unraveled like a cheap sweater. The nurse who tried to take Isla, she was Dr. Keaton's former surgical assistant, hired specifically for this purpose. She confessed everything in exchange for immunity, revealing text messages and payment records. Dr. Keaton was suspended immediately, pending a full medical board investigation. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. Other victims started coming forward. A nurse he had fired after she rejected his advances. A rival doctor whose career he'd sabotaged with false accusations. A medical student he destroyed with fabricated complaints about her competency. Harold and Sylvia's restaurant empire faced scrutiny when employees came forward about years of wage theft, harassment, and hostile work environments. The Department of Labor launched a massive investigation that made front-page news in the San Francisco Chronicle. Daniel and I separated immediately. He claimed he never would have let them take Isla, But his failure to protect us when it mattered spoke louder than his excuses. "I didn't know they'd go this far," he pleaded during one of our lawyers' meetings. "You knew enough," I replied. "You knew they made you fire me. You knew they were threatening me. You chose them every single time until it was too late." Victoria surprised everyone by filing for divorce from Dr. Keaton and testifying against her parents. "I lost my baby," she testified at the criminal trial, her voice steady despite her tears. "That nearly broke me. But finding out my husband and parents planned to steal my sister-in-law's child, that did break me. There's no coming back from that level of betrayal." The legal consequences were swift and brutal. Harold and Sylvia were charged with conspiracy, harassment, and attempted child trafficking. Dr. Keaton faced additional charges for falsifying medical records and abuse of power. During the trial, even more disturbing details emerged. They'd researched how to forge adoption papers, had a corrupt lawyer on standby, bribed hospital staff to look the other way. This wasn't a grief-stricken impulse, the prosecutor argued. This was a calculated, premeditated attempt to traffic a child using wealth, influence, and professional connections. The judge didn't buy their tears or expensive lawyers. The sentences came down like hammers. Harold got 2 years in federal prison and 5 years probation. Sylvia got 18 months and probation. Dr. Keaton lost his medical license permanently and served 3 years. Their social circle abandoned them faster than rats fleeing a sinking ship. The Palo Alto Country Club revoked their membership. One by one, their restaurants closed as staff quit and customers stayed away. Within 18 months, they filed for bankruptcy. "We've lost everything," Sylvia sobbed at their sentencing hearing. "Our business, our reputation, our family. You lost those things because of your choices," Judge Morales responded. "Not because this mother refused to give you her child." Daniel tried to reconcile, showing up at my new apartment with flowers and apologies. "I know I failed you," he said. "But I want to be in Isla's life. I want us to be a family again. You can have supervised visits," I told him. "But we're done. When someone threatens your child, you don't make excuses. You protect them." He pays child support now and sees Isla twice a month at a family visitation center. His relationship with his parents is non-existent. Last I heard, he was in therapy trying to understand how he became so complicit. Victoria and I meet for coffee monthly. She's become Isla's honorary aunt, channeling her grief into being the family member she wished she'd had. She started a support group for women who've lost children. "They wanted to erase my daughter," she told the group once. "Like she never existed. But stealing someone else's baby wouldn't have brought her back. It would have just created more pain. As for me, I got a promotion at work and bought a small house in Sunnyvale with a good school district. My friends, my chosen family, are Isla's godparents. We have Sunday barbecues and holiday traditions with zero guilt trips or comparisons. Sometimes I think about that night in the hospital, how they looked at me and saw someone powerless. Someone they could manipulate because I had no family to defend me. They were wrong. Family isn't about blood, or money, or social status. It's about the people who stand by you when others try to tear you down. It's about protecting those who can't protect themselves. It's about choosing love over image. Truth over convenience. Isla is 3 now. She has my stubborn streak and her father's laugh. Sometimes I catch myself checking doors twice, holding her hand a little too tight in public. The trauma lingers, but she's safe. She's loved. And she's mine. Harold and Sylvia sent a letter through their lawyer last month, an apology of sorts, begging to meet their granddaughter. I tore it up without reading past the first sentence. Because some doors, once closed, should never be opened again. And that's the story of how my in-laws tried to steal my baby. And how, in the end, I chose myself.